pour qu'on parle de ce que tu as fait. Le juge a besoin de savoir pourquoi tu agis de cette manière, et c'est à moi de donner mon avis.
Non, ça vous regarde pas.
Ça va, mon chéri?
Ouais.
Mon Dieu, mais qu'est-ce que tu lui as fait?
Maman, elle s'est chavirée, c'est tout, c'est rien.
Un bon bachot, c'est tout ce qu'il te faut. Allez!
Avec ta mère, vous faites ça à tous les mecs qui chavirent. C'est que c'est ma première fois. Hein.
Tu te détends, tu résistes jamais au mouvement. Tu te laisses aller.
Plaisir à voir tous les deux.
Salut beau mec.
Toi et moi, on a des milliers de balades à faire ensemble. On se connaît que depuis ce matin.
Pourquoi perdre du temps? On est tous mortels.
À cet instant précis, il n'y avait rien au monde que j'aurais pu lui refuser. Je voulais passer tout mon temps avec lui. Et pourtant, quand j'étais avec lui, cela ne me suffisait pas non plus.
Alex, on pourrait peut-être emmener Kate faire une promenade?
Oh, j'adorerais.
Vous savez, Alexis, c'est un gentil garçon. On veut l'aider parce que c'est notre fils et qu'on l'aime.
C'est toi la question!
Et quoi, moi, quoi?
Mais toi, tu m'ennuies, toi!
Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Disparais ou j'appelle la police!
Et pour toi, ce qui est important, c'est pas ce qu'on fait ensemble. C'est moi que tu veux. Et ça, c'est pas possible, Alex.
J'ai besoin de comprendre ce qui s'est passé.
Hello and welcome to The Living Room, brought to you by Curzon Home Cinema. If you're watching this live, you can join the conversation either in the comments on YouTube or via Twitter with the handle @CurzonCinemas. And please use the hashtag Summer of '85. Summer of '85 is an adaptation of Aidan Chambers' 1982 novel Dance on My Grave, which is the second book in his loosely connected 6-part dance sequence series. For the film, the story has moved from exotic Southend to the French coast. But what Francois Ozon and his superb cast retain is the power of the books capturing the all-consuming passion of being young and falling hopelessly in love. So to talk about their film, I'm delighted to welcome writer-director Francois Ozon. Hello, Francois.
Hello, how are you?
And I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for joining us. I've also got, so far, two members of the cast, Felix Lefebvre. Hi, Felix.
Hi. Hey, everybody.
And also, we've also got Philippine Felge. Hello, Philippine.
Hi.
And we are hoping to be joined by Benjamin Voisin at some point in time. We'll keep our fingers crossed. So we are going to get some questions coming in from audience members, but I'll start with a few questions. Francois, can we open with talking about your passion for Aidan Chambers' novel? When did you first discover it?
I read the novel in '85, actually. I was 17 and I fell in love with the book because it was a book for young adults, and it was very new at this time to read a book in which the representation of homosexuality was without guilt, without suffer. It was something very simple, and it was not an issue of the story. So I really loved the book, and I was dreaming to become a director at this time. And I was thinking, if one day I make a film, I would like it could be my first feature. And I had to wait 35 years to make it.
So why so long to make the film?
Maybe because I was too close to the characters. You know, sometimes you need distance, you need time. Now I'm an old man, I'm more able to understand these young people. And actually I was dreaming that another director made the film before me. You know, I wanted to be the spectator of this story first. And I didn't know I would become a director. So I wanted to see this story on a big screen. But, oh, sorry, Benjamin is calling. Sorry.
Okay.
And what did I say? Je sais plus.
Tu voulais être le spectateur.
Oui. Je voulais quoi? I wanted to be the spectator. I wanted to be the spectator of the film.
And
but nobody made it during all this time.
What was the reaction to the book at the time in France? Because I know that in the UK, critics very much liked it, but some local councils banned the book because they felt it was immoral for children of a certain age to be reading it. Was there a
I
different
think
reaction?
it was I don't remember exactly because I was very young, but I remember a community of young people loved the book and it became a kind of cult book. And you have to think we read this book at a time AIDS appeared in all the world. So it was very strong for us to read this story in which there is death and love at the time where the disease of AIDS was everywhere.
And your decision to relocate the action to France.
Ah, Benjamin is coming.
Ah.
Oh my God.
Benjamin, hello.
We don't hear you, Benjamin. Mets le son.
C'est quoi cette barbe?
Ouais, j'ai enfin l'autorisation de me raser. Vous m'entendez déjà?
Ouais.
We speak in English, Benjamin.
In English.
Okay, in English. How are you, mate? Bon, attends, je vais me péter une clope. Bon, vas-y, je vous laisse finir.
Okay, and he is hopefully going to go and put some clothes on now.
Yes. No, he wants to smoke something.
Okay. Actually, Felix, let's come on to you. Am I right in that Francois first approached you without actually telling you what the film was he wanted you to be in?
Yeah. I did the first casting without Francois and without knowing anything. And actually, when I got out of the casting, I had so few informations that I called my agent and I said, I want to meet him, even if he doesn't like my take, because I just didn't know what I just did. So I thought that it was like, maybe it's good, maybe it's not, but I had so few information. But luckily, the next day, Francois called and he wanted to meet me. So I got to meet him. And then he explained to me the story and he told me everything about the character and that it was the first role and that it was something that was going to be strong. And yeah, we started talking about the film.
And was that the same with you, Philippine? Did you know what the project was when you came on board at that point?
Yeah, I did. I had the full scenes to send a tape to before I went to Paris for the recall. So I knew what the project was and I knew who was attached to it. And but I didn't know who was playing the two boys.
Right.
Yeah, but I knew.
And Benjamin, again, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I read one piece about the film saying that Francois had described the character, David, that you're going to play as being like a scorpion.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. One day we tried to work, and I don't know why, but this was not good. And I asked to Francois what have I to do, and said to me, you have to be a scorpion. So I tried to be magnetic. Is it English?
Yep.
Magnetic, like this. And je peux pas faire la blague de la queue, c'est con, putain.
Là, Philippine va le traduire.
Dis-lui que je voulais absolument laisser faire. Déjà, bonjour Philippine. Ça va bien? Je voulais avoir absolument la carapace du scorpion et laisser après ma queue faire mon travail.
He says that he wanted to absolutely have the kind of outer skin of a scorpion and wanted his tail to do all of the work. Does that make sense?
Yep.
This is not really a joke in English, but
in French it's very perverse.
Yeah.
But in English it sounds bad.
C'est nul. Bon.
Felix, just thinking about the role you play of Alexis, actually growing up in that era, watching the film, I was reminded of a friend that I actually grew up with. You play. But it's just interesting in terms of Alexis' sexuality and his outward expression of his sexuality. Obviously, that era then is very different to today. Did you actually look back to the 1980s and do much research on that, or was it a lot of it just based on the conversations that you had with Francois and
the sexuality during the 80s, or just
just in terms of what would be accepted in the 1980s as opposed to what is accepted now?
Well, what's good in the movie is that there's no issue around the sexuality of the two boys, and at no point you even see them doing anything perverse or like doing. I mean, sometimes they, you know, touch each other a little bit, but never go, you know, at the end of what they want to do, because it's the eyes of Alexis, and he's a romantic, so you don't see them. And in the movie, it's a love story. So sexually, I didn't work a lot on what was happening, but I did get few. Comment on dit en anglais ce que je t'ai dit là sur le truc de. Non, attends,
T'as dit je devais bander.
Vas-y, dis-le, François.
Non, mais,
dis-le, François.
mais non, c'est Philippine qui doit traduire.
Mais non,
François.
c'est toi, tu le sais.
When I ask, one day Félix came to me and he said to me, I know how to play the character of Alexis. Il faut que je bande quand je suis avec David. How do you translate that, Philippine? I have to be hard when I'm with David?
I have hard on. Yeah.
Voilà.
When I'm around David.
At this
The
moment,
title.
what was
I have to be
Alexis,
hard.
we just had a hard on the whole time. That's
The
it.
whole time.
And Kate, Philippine, just thinking about your character of Kate, she's interesting just from the perspective of a viewer, because she's done absolutely nothing wrong, but we are siding with Alexis. I just wonder, in the conversations that you and Francois had about how you play the role.
We didn't have that many conversations, but I think what is interesting is it's all kind of there as well. And in the script that Francois had written, there are a couple of other scenes with Kate, and I think they were like, everyone knows that girl. Well, at least I do. Growing up in England, I definitely know that girl who like goes to France for a summer to, you know, learn French, but also like live a sort of romantic story of her own. And so, yeah, like you said, she doesn't do anything wrong. And I think quite quickly it's obvious in the film that we're seeing it from Alexis' point of view. So it wasn't, well, I don't think we needed to have that many conversations, me and Francois, because it's such a human, like growing into yourself as a woman thing, to like go away and have a little like summer fling with some sort of exotic man. But that, I think it's, yeah, she doesn't do anything wrong, and I think that's the beauty of Kate as a character, is that she's so recognizable in all of our lives. Like everyone knows that girl who goes on holiday and like finds herself in the arms of a beautiful stranger.
Which one is the beautiful stranger? Which one is it?
You'll have to wait and see.
The other thing, listening to you talk, and obviously you speak fluent French, you're very impressive at actually making it look like you don't speak French.
Thanks. Yeah. That was actually
for us, for the French, she has a very sexy accent. You know, in France, we love English actresses working in France. Of course, Charlotte Rampling, Jane Birkin, Christine Scott Thomas. There is a tradition of English actresses.
Of course, Charlotte Rampling. Of course.
Okay, at this point, I've got to ask this question. You get this sense with the film that there's so much energy and enthusiasm. Perhaps Francois shouldn't be listening at this point in time, but you three, was it fun? It just looks like the sort of film that was incredibly fun to make.
Was it fun?
Yes, to be honest, that was really easy to me, and I think to my friends too, to make this movie, because when you're young and you're with such a great director as Francois is, that's easy. Anything don't take any time. You go fast and you go well. So yes, to be honest,
yeah, we had such a great time. And when I look back at it right now, with everything that's happening in the world, it seems such like an utopic place, like a lost paradise, you know.
Lost paradise, yes.
I've got some questions that are coming from the audience. This is from Kat.
We don't hear you
Some
anymore.
very warm and lively.
We
missed
Will you repeat?
Yeah, so again.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is from Katerina. A big compliment regarding the aesthetics of the film. The colors are very warm and lively. How did you choose the palette that you shot with?
It was with the DP, we decided to shoot in pellicule, in film, you know, not in digital. It was important to keep the spirit of the 80s, and because my first short films were shot in pellicule, in 16 millimeters, I wanted to have this texture of image and this sensuality, you know, of the frame of the pellicule. It was important to give you the feeling of the 80s.
Referencing another visual star, Ben from West London has asked, I kept being reminded of Eric Romer's Pauline à la Plage and A Summer's Tale. Were they conscious or subconscious influences at all?
You know, Eric Romer was my teacher at the university. And of course, he was very important in my formation. And he was a great teacher. And there is a tradition in France of summer films, you know. And I made myself a short film a long time ago called Summer Dress. And, you know, in France, all summer, many things happen. So it's a good base to tell stories.
Another person, Ruth from London, asks about how easy it was to recreate the 1980s on the French coastline.
We decided to shoot in High Normandy, in a small station. You know, in the book, it's in Southend-on-Sea. You know, it's a working class. Comment on dit station balnéaire, Philippine?
Like summer destination.
Summer destination. No, c'est pas ça, mais c'est pas grave.
Like coastal town.
Yes.
Station balnéaire. Yeah,
Station balnéaire. Bon.
Ouais.
And I was looking something like Southend-on-Sea in France. And I discovered the High Normandy, and this place, Le Tréport, is quite beautiful. And everything is not too rebuilt, you know. It's there is still the spirit of the 80s or 70s, and it was good for the film.
And the other thing about, obviously, with the 1980s, we've got the music. And I know you've talked about this quite a lot, but you actually changed the title in order to get the Cure song. Is that correct?
Yes, because the first title of the film was Summer of '84. And when we asked to The Cure and Robert Smith to have the rights of the song, they answered, it's impossible because the song was released in all the world in '85. So I decided to change the title to be sure to have the song by The Cure, because I was a big fan of The Cure at this time. And I'm still a fan.
And did you give the cast a sort of playlist of songs for them to go away and listen to sort of soak up that era?
I asked to Felix. Felix listened many songs of the 80s because his mother is born in the 80s, in the 60s, I think. Your mother, no?
Yeah,
she has the same age than me.
Yeah, just like you.
So I think he listened to many songs, and actually Felix had the idea of Rod Stewart's song "Sailing," because my first idea was to have a Cruel Summer by Bananarama for the dance on the grave, and it was too fun. It was too fun. We wanted something maybe more slow, more romantic, and for the dance it was better. And
with the lyrics also, it fits
the lyrics,
the movie.
Yeah, because it just takes you back to the first encounter. I do have one question from Robin London, who said, "Are you a secret Rod Stewart fan, Francois? Is that the real reason why you included Sailing?"
Absolutely not. No. And actually, the song comes from the 70s, not the 80s. And no, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of The Cure, of Lloyd Cole and the Commotions. I wanted to have a song by The Smiths, but it was impossible because it was too expensive. This Charming Man I wanted to have at the moment. But I enjoy Rod Stewart. But it's funny because I have the feeling for the English, it's terrible, Rod Stewart, no?
I wouldn't say terrible. Yeah, it is
cheesy.
kitsch. It is
Kitsch
it
or
is kind of
cheesy.
kitsch.
But we had in mind for the story that it was maybe the favorite song of David's father, who was a sailor.
But
So we had that in mind.
Maybe then the end scene resonates differently for you in England. If it's kitsch, if it's a kitsch song, maybe it looks weird. Like me, doesn't.
People
No,
laugh when he's dancing on the grave? No.
No, I think by the time we're at the point where he's dancing on the grave, it's the emotion takes over.
Okay.
Okay.
So
But when they are dancing in the club, maybe people are laughing. I don't know.
it's no, I think it's a really interesting contrast. And
Yes.
I think
For me, it's the key scene of the film because you
Yeah.
can see at this moment they don't dance on the same music, and it's the problem of the two lead characters.
it's also something lovely. It's very rare that I've seen a nightclub scene in film and thought to myself, I really want to be in that nightclub. And this is one of
Yes.
those few moments where I've
You
actually
should have
thought,
come. You should have come.
I would have been there. You should have asked.
It was nice. But
I have a
now
que-
it would be impossible to shoot this kind
Yeah,
of
that
film.
Lost Paradise. Lost Paradise.
I've got a question. It's sort of touched on earlier, but this is from Oliver Del Mar. And he's got a question for Felix and Benjamin about preparing for the intimate scenes. Could you both talk a little bit about that?
Well, we just spent lots of time together and we grew a confidence of one another, and we just had fun and just working the scenes. I didn't feel like stressed.
Did you have
about
sex
those-
before the shooting?
Yeah, we had sex. We had
Ah,
sex
okay.
2 or 3 times, but
Okay,
just to-
that's good.
just to make it done, so we were good. No, just kidding.
It
No,
was the
we-
first kiss in front
No.
of the camera, no?
No.
The first kiss was in front of the camera, no? You kissed each other before the film?
Oh
Yes.
no, the first
Yes,
kiss.
a lot,
yes,
a lot.
was.
Yes.
Yeah.
I cannot
Yeah.
lie anymore. Yes, we did a lot.
No.
Oh my
No,
god,
no,
that was so
The
good.
first kiss. No, it wasn't the first
Such
kiss. I
great time in bed. Oh my god.
think we did kiss in rehearsals before, didn't we?
No.
We
I
kissed a
know,
lot.
Not with the tongue.
Don't lie.
No, I don't
We
know.
kissed
I
Not
don't know.
French
I-
kiss. Not
Because
French
we
kiss.
didn't- No, we didn't care a lot about this. Like what was important for us was the filming and what the scenes was talking about. So those kind of things we were confident about each other, and so it wasn't a problem.
And I have a question from Tanya. Do the scenes with the mirrors have a certain meaning behind them? Maybe a metaphor of a different version of reality?
Yes, it comes from the book. And I know Aidan Chambers, when he saw the film, he told me, thank you to have kept the scenes with the mirror, because it was very important in his book.
Just thinking about the tone of the film, this is something, having read the book, you have comedy in here, and
Yes.
And yet it veers in tone into extreme seriousness. And the film does exactly the same thing. And I just wonder, how difficult was it to find that balance with the tone?
I think the work was, of course, on the set, but the right balance, we found it during the editing process, to decide to go more in the comedy or less, it was important, especially in the second part of the film, when you are mourning with the character of Alexei, and at this moment you don't want to love so much. So there was the balance to find, especially in the scene with Kate in the morgue, which can be really very comedy. In the book, it's very funny, so we have to find this balance. And I had really in mind making the film the teenager I was. I made this film for the teenager I was when I was 17. I was always thinking what kind of movie I wanted to see when I was 17. And, when you are a teenager, one day you can be totally dramatic. You think it's the end of your life, you will die. And the day after, you have fun with your friends. And there is this balance in your own life as a teenager. And I wanted to keep this tone in the film. And it comes from the book too, because there is this tonality in the book.
Another question from audience member. This is Mary. I've enjoyed your films since I first saw 8 Women, and I think you would make a fantastic musical. Have you ever been tempted?
But 8 Women was a kind of musical. Yeah. Yes, I would like, but I have to find the story, the right song, and the good singers. You know, in France, the actors can't sing. They are very bad for singing. Felix can sing. Maybe at the end of the Q&A, we'll sing something for you.
Yeah,
Felix,
Sing
do
something
you want,
for you. I'll sing
do you want to
something
sing a
for you.
version of
Any
Sailing?
song.
Sailing.
Any song. I've got it.
Sailing
Look,
in
I've
between
got a
days.
piano here.
go on.
Go to the piano and we'll wait for you can play a saint at the end of the evening. Actually, just thinking about all the films that you've made, 19 films over 22 years, what's your process in choosing your next project? Because it's such a contrast to look at this film. That the last film we saw of yours was By the Grace of God. Do you have a number of projects lined up at a time, and whichever is ahead, that's the one you pick, or do you work at one at a time?
No, I have to finish one project to know what will be the next one. But very often, you know, I have in mind the line by François Truffaut who said, you have to make the film against the one you have just finished. So after By the Grace of God, which was very hard and complex to make, I wanted to go to something more, something lighter and work with young actors. So I just follow my instinct and my desire. But I don't have in mind many projects, you know. I have to finish something to know what will be the next one.
Yeah, you say that, but I don't know of any other director who is as industrious as you. I know you're already working on the next film now, aren't you?
He's done.
I'm finishing the editing of a new film, yes.
He's done.
You can't then turn around and say, I don't have many. That's quite impressive track record.
You know, it's my rhythm. I don't know. I like to make films, so I have no problems with that. It's the other who don't work enough.
Oh,
we are almost out of time. But Felix, is there a small song that you have in your heart that you would like to play for people?
Oh yes, sing something.
No,
Felix.
Maybe. Look. I got a deal for you. Maybe one day you will hear me sing, but maybe in a movie or something like this. But not
tonight.
Not tonight.
Come on, a bit of Stevie.
No. Sorry.
Okay,
I gotta keep something, you know, for me. You know, maybe that I show later on, but not tonight. I'm sick. No, just kidding. It's not the joke to do these days.
Don't say that at the moment.
Don't do this joke today.
Actually, Francois, this is another reason for you doing returning to a musical, is to get Felix to sing in one of your films.
I don't know if I will work again with Felix. You never know.
Unfortunately, we have come to the end. Summer of '85 is now playing at Curzon Cinemas and on Curzon On Demand. Also on Curzon On Demand, there's a selection of Francois's films that you can watch in a mini retrospective, and they include his excellent last film, By the Grace of God. And if you do want to read Aidan Chambers' Dance on My Grave, it's actually available from Definitions, which is an imprint of Random House, and it's a 2-volume collection that also includes the first book in that series, Break Time, and it really is quite a wonderful book. Yes. All that it remains me to do now is to thank you all for joining us today. Francois,
thank you.
Felix, and Benjamin, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
So much.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night in
London, in England.
In England. I never been to England. I wish that I could have come, but next time.
Come over with the next film.
Yeah, all right.
You will be welcome.
Not the next, but maybe next one.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And just to let you know, the next Curzon Living Room event takes place next Tuesday on the 3rd of November. I'll be in conversation with the director Corky Gederoich and writer Caitlin Moran, who will be talking about the film adaptation of her book, How to Build a Girl. Take care of yourselves and see you next time. Thank you.